My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. That's impossible activity. Demonic, and then they just have little colored lights while they're engaged in the P.O.C. And this is the P.O.C. while they're probably getting prepared for another demonic means. It's public corruption, but they're maintaining what is a program
some sort of program on Euclid Avenue, like the Christmas lights, like the food festival where they're gang stalking me. And while they are preparing for it, you're looking at the same pattern of conduct. And that is Ontario police in the background gang stalking. This is alright, that's the same engineer light. It's just on a different color. This is the same city of Ontario stalking while they are molesting with the false light, stalking in the past with light activity. This is the same city of Ontario. This is P.O.C. And this is another guise of the same gang stalking in furtherance of murder. Just want to be clear. This is the city that's engaged in that pattern of conduct in a specific environment, which includes engineer light. This is the same impossible light activity, stalking in the presence, and amplified noise. These are demons that work for the city.
And the Ontario police, that are in position while they're doing that. This is P.O.C.
Good morning.
Alrighty, this is criminal summoning. The 5K so-called reindeer run is another piece of evidence showing public corruption in the city of Ontario, how an entity is engaged in criminal surveillance with the people of the state. And it's the same criminal elements of monitoring. Civic environment, there's the fake moon over me, and the entity, this is where the fake sun rises, and they are engaged in getting out all of their sexually perverted and demonic, deranged stalking tactics out while they have an excuse, or so they think, to pace all around me and to molest me with impossible light, while the sex offenders, the demon-possessed Ontario police, and the sex offenders, the demon-possessed city of Ontario, are literally surrounding with light activity. They're surrounding me, monitoring, just like the demons who are the people of the state do all night long. But also, as I get up and start packing up my property, the demons are monitoring every move that I make. So that's what is traffic, and they're actually demons in engineer light, pacing back and forth. This is what the sex offenders, the mentally ill, the Ontario Police Department are engaging in. That is a sex offense, sexual assault and battery under the guise of the red and blue white lights. The Ontario police that are stalking on an ongoing basis, and it doesn't change because they call the pattern of conduct reindeer run, where the same demon-possessed people of the state are engaging in what is that pattern of conduct together. The entity is engaged in surrounding with light activity. This is light activity, and they're pacing as opposed to engaging. Oh, I'm putting the porta potties over here and I'm putting up the cones over. They're pacing all around me and monitoring pursuant to what it is that I'm doing as I do it, while they are on the surface preparing for what is on the same street where the fake sun rises and sets. This is documentation of sexual assault and battery at 537 North Euclid Avenue. I want you to look at the impossible light. This is this right here. This object is flat on the ground, and it is also on the wall. This is, again, my shadow that's projected, my shadow that are multiple shadows that are on the ground. This is where the Ontario police are demon possessed, and they're engaged in an ongoing sex offense. They're being disbanded in the first place. This is documentation showing the thorough evidence of what is a thoroughly corrupt entity that shares in criminal surveillance and furtherance of murder. And they're today calling it the 5K reindeer run. It's the same demon-possessed population. They're all in me. They're stalking me. They're monitoring me, and they pace by me with that same impossible light activity in the specific environment as I engage in any movement. This is what they do concerning my vagina. So you could see them outside, because this is what they do concerning knowledge about my vagina and obsession with my vagina. This is P.O.C. All right, it is currently, by the way, 5:58 a.m. This is the entity that's engaged in that pattern of conduct. That's this object, my shadow projecting. That's not headlights, and that's a golf cart. That's how blatantly demonic and idiotic. It's as idiotic as a fake sun. The demon possessors are not here to be intelligent. They're here for you to witness what is the removal of their effective, or what they thought was effective, witchcraft, for you to see the entity in one way. This is the removal of that illusion. Okay, this is the entity that is, and that is through the power of Christ, the removal of that witchcraft, that veil, that illusion, where you're looking at one thing and you are deceived and thinking that it is one thing, and I'm showing you it's an entirely other. All right, these are vagina monitors. These are sex offenders that are engaging in what is criminal surveillance. And this is the removal of Paul Leon. Every event that the city of Ontario is engaged in is acting in furtherance of my murder. They're gang stalking me, spending a lot of money and resources and sharing in that massive criminal act with every department in the city of Ontario. The amplified train activity is while psychopath is pacing. Demonic. This is demonic activity. And you cannot hear the Union Pacific train. This is the entity that's engaged in what is absurd and demented, unintelligent, That's synonymous with what is demonic. This is P.O.C. It is currently, again, 6 a.m. Union Pacific Railroad train tracks. Not only is it not on the tracks, you're not going to hear it. And remember, the entity was doing that inside of Tracy Banks' apartment, inside of the parking lot of Woodside Senior Apartments. There's a body of evidence doing it while I'm inside of the vehicle at Fern and G Street, a distance away from here. Those are demons that are stalking. It includes the Ontario Police. It's just red and blue lights that are sexually violating my body. While you're stalking in furtherance of murdering me, your mental illness and your criminal conduct are going to be used against you in a court of law. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6 a.m. on the dot. This is the fire department stalking in the grocery store that you know is filled with engineer light. This is the entity that keeps my vagina under. This is mental illness at work, posing a threat to the public. This is a psychopath pacing in a grocery store. The cart is noise. They're in engineer light, pacing with the people. Ontario Fire is not doing anything other than stalking. Where they're doing so at what is the Stater Brothers at 646 West Holt Boulevard. That's the extent to which the entity is keeping me under surveillance and conspiring murder. You should know this. This is why they gas up helicopters and planes. That is severely mentally ill behavior. What I'm showing you, the criminal monitoring, the stalking, that's the demon possession. That is a spirit that is manifesting as mentally ill behavior. This is P.O.C. and they're stalking as well. They are the people of the state. Engage in surveillance in the parking lot. I'm showing you the white Jeep. I'm showing you the vehicle adjacent to the entrance. They have their headlights on in the parking lot. They're stalking with light. Okay, the engineer light that's moving all across the wall, it's not their headlights, and they're stalking with engineer light in the path as I come into this venue. And the city of Ontario is stalking behind a shopping cart. This is P.O.C. That's an unlawful threat, in other words. The mental illness is relevant to the unlawful threat posed by stalkers who are conspiring murder. The Ontario Fire Department is being shut down. That demon represents that entity that is entirely mentally ill. Inside of Stater Brothers stalking, P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, where Stater Brothers is communicating that threat. And this is vagina monitoring that's underway inside of the bathroom inside of this venue as well. 6:50 a.m. P.O.C. Alrighty, I have to go ahead and document the pattern of conduct. This is beyond a prosecution. You've got dynamic light while the vehicle's at a distance. That's the trajectory of the light coming at an angle. They're over there and they're affecting light over here. That's speaking to the trajectory of light. Light that is impossible to occur in that environment is where stalking by an entity that is moreover demon possessed, a public entity that's engaging in a satanic means of surveillance in concert with the people. It is exposing everything at the same time: mental illness, criminal surveillance, criminal activity, organized crime. The entity is engaged in what is walking in engineer light. Both the employees and the venues, his shadows appearing in this light activity inside of the building. The plane is not only crossing path, which is demonic, creating audible noise in the engineer light, which is demonic. The demons are walking in opposite directions, crossing path together. This is pacing accomplished by the demon possessed together. So that would be one person that's going back and forth. The demon possessed do it as a group that are patrolling all around in that engineer light. If you'll recall my documentation, I'm here at 10 o'clock in the morning where the entity has the fake sun closer to me at the same address. Okay, 646 West Holt, where it's an abandoned location. It's no longer rising over the bus stop. Those are two distinct locations. So it's not rising over the bus stop today. I'm at 646 West Holt, where the entity has the fake sun, where Garda World is gang stalking under the 3 p.m. fake sun at the same address in the afternoon. And the entity is engaging what is abandoning the sun being over Starbucks at 7:15 in the morning, which would be 6:15 standard time. It's 7:18 a.m. during standard Pacific time. You're understanding and putting together all the evidence proving what is stalking by a population who are, again, a corrupt entity, a corrupt public entity that's acting through a population, maintaining surveillance via communication devices. It's federal stalking. Literally, you are in that environment. They create light activity simultaneously. They maintain presence, doing so under the guise of working, living, traveling, and they're engaged in psychopathic pacing, mentally ill behavior, and sexually violent conduct. Okay? When you are under what is a supernatural phenomenon, you're not under that ignorantly. And you're also not under that ignorantly while you're engaging in what is absurd conduct regarding the operations of a police department, a fire department, an airport, and a population. These are the same demons stalking with impossible light. How are they accomplishing it now without it slinging off of their cars? Which is not actually slinging off the cars, they're demons. The entity just has the light plastered on the side of the wall. 3 hours from now, the fake sun is here. blatantly engaging in what is targeting. This is what they're doing at the OVITT Family Community Library over the Ontario City Hall, where there are also no takeoffs. And no takeoffs include a U-turn going back to the airport after a takeoff. And a takeoff is not perpetually occurring throughout the city into adjacent cities. Sunway does a ricochet in front of your car. Potential immigrant 6B54088 targeting an American citizen in furtherance of murder with the government that's stalking with them, sharing in what is terrorism in the environment, which is a scientific impossibility. It's also impossible when you see my magnified shadow up on the wall. And the more embarrassed, the more blatant the criminal system that's supposed to be a secret is exposed, the more embarrassed they are, the more ridiculous the light activity becomes. That's a direct indicator regarding their mental illness. These are the serial killers. And that was pacing, coming out, getting caught back, walking back in. It's supposed to appear as normal conduct. Nothing is normal in that environment. Okay? Stalking is never normal, by the way. This is P.O.C. 646 West Holt Boulevard has the fake sun, as I've documented, and the airport stalking, the police department and the fire department stalking inside. This is a mentally ill person wearing a security guard uniform, and you need to be protected from this psychopath. That is a safeguard on demand. That is gang stalking. Doing so in the vehicle, as I documented with the airport, as I documented the African-American male that was operating their vehicle while they're gang stalking under the fake sun, and that was hours after 7 a.m. This is P.O.C. Pathic pacing. Okay, while the entities engage in that pattern of 7:20 a.m. at 646 West Holt. Remember, the Starbucks has the fake sun where L. Edwards is engaged in criminal summoning. L. Edwards and A. Casada during the 9 a.m. hour, and that fake sun is over that roof. That's where the entity is engaging in what is forgetting about the fake sun documentation that's going to be over the Ontario Town Square. This is very demented pacing. The entities engage in this pattern of conduct while the fake sun is also setting through the windows of the Starbucks after 7 p.m. This is at June 3rd, 2025. This is the entity that's engaging in what is that pattern of conduct while you're creating audible activity in that specific environment on behalf of the government, representing a corrupt gang stalking co-conspirator of murder calling itself a security company. This demon is engaging what is speaking to me while knows that I'm documenting. That's his means of audible activity. I just want to be clear. You need to know about serial killers. You need to know about pedophiles. You need to know about terrorists that are engaging in what is public corruption. The light that is inside of the building on the wall is totally separate and disconnected from the fake sun that you see out here. It's not sunlight. And the evidence is showing you this is not even the sun. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:22 a.m. All right, this is the environment where stalking is underway. Holt Boulevard is psychopathic pacing. Okay, the context is the fake sun and the engineered light. This is the breaking down of an illusion where the demon-possessed are engaged in criminal surveillance, meaning they are stalking as a population, stalking as a public entity. That's what the city of Ontario is demonstrating for you, both their demon possession, which is now on the outside of all of their persons, and their criminal conduct is exposed, and the fact that they are engaging in what is a system of criminal surveillance which exists, as you are aware of, the unnatural environment. Here's the shadow. Here's another shadow, however, and this is the fake sun that would be reflecting. Okay, that's very low-hanging light source. This is not the sun. I've broken down the environment already. The entity is currently also 7:44 a.m. I'm still remaining at the bus stop where Jay Sandoval is on video under a fake sun well after 9 o'clock in the morning. What is she standing under while that fake sun doesn't move at 537 North Euclid Avenue? In other words, she's going to federal prison. Okay, she's going to federal prison while the Ontario International Airport is stalking an American citizen that is cataloging as they're communicating a threat with a demon-possessed entity that's engaging in this unconstitutional and inhumane system of surveillance and furtherance of murder, where the demon-possessed, like Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields, engage in what is the practice of witchcraft that is relevant to malice, while a population is exhibiting mental illness while they are supposed to be presumed as strangers that are minding their business, and you are hallucinating. You're paranoid. And the pattern of conduct is serving to diagnose psychopathic, antisocial, and delusional behavior, criminal at its core, and also a threat to the public, where it is gang violence. And demons like Mike Lorenz are going to prison. Mike Lorenz and that agency has been paid to keep me under surveillance in furtherance of murdering me. 00482N2's criminal surveillance is in furtherance of that. That's a pattern of conduct by that agency and by every kidnapper and one threatening, such as Jay Sandoval, who was under a fake son. That agency, the city, the state is surrounded with that evidence. And at 7:45 a.m., the entity is maintaining a light source in an entirely distinct location. The entity is maintaining the fake sun in a manner where it is remaining over 537 North Euclid Avenue, which is not going to be, this is Holt Boulevard and Bonita, which is running east and west. 537 North Euclid Avenue is in an entirely, it would be in an entirely different location, where the entity is maintaining that evidence of surveillance. And the engineer light, where you're seeing them molest me with impossible light at night, this is the daytime version of it. It's a sex offense, it's sexual assault and battery, and they're going to be prosecuted as sex offenders. They're also going to be diagnosed. The Ontario International Airport engaged in what is vagina monitoring inside of Stater Brothers that has a fake son over me, as I've been documenting. A body of evidence regarding what is criminal surveillance and furtherance of my murder. This is P.O.C. Okay, just want you to see the demons that are, again, this is a threat under the law. You're going to analyze the stalker. The stalker is already proven. The stalker has already given up on life. The stalker knows that they're going to prison. This is why you would engage in prosecutorial suicide in the way in which the demon-possessed people of the state, all right? He was under the 7 a.m., 7:15 a.m. fake sun. It's still here. It is 9:05 a.m. Here is, those are the demons stalked with audible noise, Stater Brothers, okay? There is no sunrise over the bus stop. There's stalkers monitoring at the bus stop, 19 Apple 8892. And the Ontario Police Department are engaging in that. And the entity is engaging what is approaching with the gang stalking security guard the moment that I start running video. He's got a communication device, he's creating light activity, and the demons are engaged in pathic pacing. It is 9:06 a.m. This is the entity that has the fake sun, where the entity is pacing. This is the context you're looking at. Those are demons that are pacing. It's not traffic. These are the suicidal, demon-possessed, co-conspirators of murder, paid stalkers. And they're going to prison. Jason. You don't want me to take a picture of the sky? Is that what you said? Are you running away under the fake sun while the Ontario police are flying in circles? The police, you said they're coming in 5 minutes, right? The police are already here. License plate, stalking with the police, license 7XWK217. These are the demons that engage in threatening to commit kidnapping with the police. Jay Sandoval, who's under a fake sun, 8REE158. Capturing the video, the entity engaging in that pattern of conduct, and I'm going to go ahead and continue. That's the into the gang stalking security guard while I'm taking a picture of the sky. Oh no, you cannot take picture over here. No picture over here. The police will be here in 5 minutes. The police that are stalking in the sky space with him through his audible activity, threatening to engage in criminal summoning. 8MCA817, impossible light, pacing with this psychopath, this vagina monitor, a homosexual predator, a psychopath, 9S Zebra X410, stalking with the police. Okay, the entities engaged in that 9DHA821, and the demon on video that you see stalking by motorcycle, those are the demons that are engaged in what is amplified audible activity. Their motorcycles are not that loud. They don't create earthquakes. They're stalking in the path under the fake sun that is remaining stationary over the Stater Brothers at 646 West Holt. Key is inside. Erica is inside. This is where David Quinones is a gang stalking terrorist, where I'm documenting ongoing conspiracy to murder me at the grocery store where they're stalking, 8GLC840, and this is the entity that engages in that, while Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields are engaged in paying people to keep me under surveillance, and those people failed. They failed in containing it, and they also failed in their witchcraft, which is relevant evidence regarding their mental illness. This is the entity that's engaged in that. You can hear it in the background, and this is exactly what they're doing at the bus stop for over an hour. Psychopathic pacing, failed witchcraft. The demons that are stalking in helicopter are not just going to prison, they're going into the soft padded room areas of prison. They're going into mental asylums, and I am not joking. This is the evidence that is establishing not only criminal activity, but severe mental instability that is a threat to themselves and other people, including children that are sharing in the pattern of conduct right now. The demon possessor in the grocery store, as I also documented, is stalking me from aisle to aisle in what is engineered light, under what is a remaining fake sun, relevant to what is criminal conduct that I documented before and that I will continuously document after this, while they are surrounded with the P.O.C, proven that they are conspiring murder by stalking as an entity. License 9UGR252. The entity is using audible activity, threatening criminal summoning that Jay Sandoval criminal summoning that A. Ornelas, criminal summoning that L. Edwards, criminal summoning that D. Rodriguez and C. Gerber utilized to engage in what is gang stalking and furtherance of murder. This is why the entity is subject to federal prison. It's the highest form of malice by the population that is actually stalking you with police departments that are actually engaged in criminal surveillance, not law enforcement. And this entity is openly exposing its suicidal tendencies while exposing its mentally ill, demented pattern of stalking me by flying in circles everywhere that I'm at in an environment that's not even natural. And that's what the people are doing. They're pacing all around. They pace in vehicles and they pace on foot. They pace in what is engineer light. This is a demon-possessed entity that's actually pacing all around me while they maintain an ongoing failed ritual. And that failed witchcraft is not only going to attack them, but they are going to prison. That's part of what it is that they've reaped while their witchcraft has failed. The entity tried to utilize witchcraft to falsely depict me as being one that is imagining this stalking conduct. No one's imagining it, and you're not imagining it while I'm documenting it. Not only that, the entity's failed witchcraft is relevant to what they have conjured up in the spirit. They pray to Satan. They are demon-possessed. They conjure up demons. Demons in order to kill people. Demons in order to bring on what is the illusion of mental illness. And I want to be clear, mental illness is a spirit. So they attack people with demonic spirits while they practice this witchcraft. That's what's proven while the people of the state are stalking me with impossible light. Demons that are operating buses like Omnitrans and they're stalking me with impossible light. Demons that are operating vehicles in the municipality and they're stalking with impossible light. This is what the entity is doing while they're practicing witchcraft. Okay? This is Stater Brothers while I am under that fake sun at what is 646 West Holt. And the entity is engaged in what is concentrating attention on me while they are stalking in the path. This is a Latino male stopping on the side of the road in operation of his communication device, monitoring with the Ontario police, doing so while they are, I just want you to see while he's stopping on the side of the grocery store, he is stalking in the path with the agency that is stalking for in helicopter, flying repeatedly in circles. And that entity is engaging in that while abandoning what is the fake sun that's over the bus stop of 537 North Euclid Avenue. This is how you know that the entity is stalking as a population, and I've documented this ongoing evidence for a term of years. The entity is engaged in that, and this is a vagina monitor that's conspiring my murder. 8 Henry Bob Charlie 023, stalking under the fake sun in operation of his device, doing so in concert with the Ontario Police Department that's engaged in what is psychopathic pacing. This demon is conspiring my murder and is a violent sex offender stalking me in the bathroom. Through the entity that goes in the women's restroom, that's the entity that knows exactly who I am, is very well informed about my vagina, which I did not consent to, maintaining ongoing sexual violence, molesting me with impossible light, stalking and threatening to commit kidnappings and to commit what is, who are you going to call? Who are you going to call? Oh, the police that are stalking, that's who you're going to call, right? That's criminal summoning. They're going to prison for that, okay? I documented that demon. He is stalking in the video at 7 in the morning. And by the way, I'm taking pictures of the sky. Why are you so triggered about my taking pictures of the sky? This is the entity. And by the way, I don't care if I'm taking pictures of your VIN number. The entity, that's also on the exterior of a vehicle, but my point is that you don't have any privacy. You're engaged in surveillance. The entity is going to be prosecuted with the malice with which they've been targeting. So you're engaging in surveillance, and then you're seeking to summon the murderers themselves because you want to obstruct justice. You are so going to prison. You're going to prison. That's Stater Brothers that's engaging in that, I want to be clear. Doing so while I am outside in the parking lot, taking literally pictures of the sky, which show the evidence that they are all stalking me under 8 MYU 105, including facilitating venue, Ontario Village Shopping Center. Okay, this is the entity that's engaged in that, and this is again, yeah, his name is, the company is, that's threatening criminal summoning, Safeguard on Demand. And again, once I start recording, the coward walks away. So that's why I repeat, what is it that you said? What, Satan? What did you say? All right, the entity is engaged in that while he's monitoring light activity. 9 Henry Wendy Yolanda 562, vehicle 23. The last time I came to Stater Brothers, I documented that company stalking with the Ontario International Airport as I'm standing at the storefront. This African American wearing the same uniform, the same third party. This is on the record already, where they're targeting with the Ontario Police Department that are stalking. And they're doing so while they are suicidal, okay? These demons know they're going to prison, and why would you I want to be clear. Let me just break. I said it in the video. I'm going to say it again. Tracy Banks is going to prison. The demon-possessed that have engaged in what is failed and delusional, continuing witchcraft that is not working on me. And not only is it not working, I'm telling everybody what's wrong with you while you're stalking me. Moreover, you're going to prison for unprecedented gang violence, establishing precedent in the United States for domestic terrorism. You're going to federal prison for conspiring my murder upon stalking me as a police department, as a city, as a state. You get on video and start flying in circles over me in that parking lot where I'm showing you hours of the remaining fake sun, the enduring fake sun, while you're reminded that A.R. Nallis is under the 8:45 a.m. fake sun. What is he under while he's engaged in what is summoning himself, stalking me under the fake sun on Euclid Avenue and F Street? What is he under? What is Jay Sandoval under? Because it's not the natural environment. That is exactly how that agency is surrounded with evidence, and they're mentally ill, including while they pace around me in helicopters. It's the same with the people of the state. While they're pacing around with impossible light under a fake sun, in engineer light, and at nightfall, as you see, under a fake moon. They're being separated from the children that they're stalking with. They're being separated from the children that they share in sexual violence with. They're being separated while they're engaging in the pattern of conduct as disgusting cockroaches that are upright, demon-possessed vagina monitors. They're gargoyles. That's what stalking and blatantly, just openly engaging in it. There's no secret anymore that the Ontario police are stalkers. There's no secret anymore that they failed in trying to conspire my murder. And there is criminally defamatory content on the internet while this entity is stalking me at the same time. You're going to prison for that. That's not ordinary defamation. That's defamation that's serving their purposes while they conspire murder. You're going to prison for that manufactured list of ongoing kidnappings by the Ontario police who are stalking at Stater Brothers at 646 West Holt. And this is what is incentivizing a fake conservatorship. This is what is incentivizing acts of fraud, criminal acts committed in my name, while you are at the same time defaming my character before you commit murder, and then claim that I killed myself or that I disappeared or that I'm a drug addict. In other words, that my demise is my own fault. Understand the incalculable harms. This is what I'm discussing on my YouTube post. Look at it on YouTube. This is the P.O.C. Regarding what are incalculable harms. This is not tortious conduct, this is criminal conduct. This is not just stalking, it's criminal surveillance and furtherance of murder. Stalking to kill. That's what the Ontario police are doing with the people of the state who are psychopaths stalking me in a grocery store. That's why the fake sun is here. They're all stalking. Stalking from aisle to aisle. Do you know how deranged you are in your mind to do that? Because that's what the demon-possessed do. They're doing so in the environment where science is going to prosecute and serve to diagnose them. And then moreover, you like to engage in pacing in that environment. This is the entity that is pointing directly to that defamation, that libel that's all over the internet. You're going to prison for that. You're going to federal prison for it. This is the P.O.C. This is the P.O.C. that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, and they're doing so while they are engaging in what is hostility, harassment. Those are the demon-possessed psychopaths who are triggered and result to threats while you are documenting their criminal activity. Okay, I just want to be clear. That is, again, a potential immigrant that is representing a corrupt company that is monitoring through that audible activity. While the parking lot is where I am capturing images, and right now I'm not even taking any pictures. I'm speaking into my phone. So while I'm engaged in a conversation, and before this, while I'm taking pictures of the sky, this demon is engaged in what is harassing me while he's monitoring. This is a demon, however, so understand spiritually what's happening. This is a demon-possessed person that is triggered. The demon inside of them, they're very much enraged and infuriated because I am discerning the demonic spirits on them. This is what is relevant to what are people who are harassing me, because I know their secrets, because I know what they're doing. The entity is demon-possessed, and they've engaged in targeting me altogether. So that's what's behind that. And it's not an individual, it's an entity. It's not just a company, it's an entity. Literally, the Ontario police are stalking while you are speaking. That's the government that is vicariously harassing, the government that is vicariously stalking and engaging in sexual violence on behalf of that agency, which is the state's P.O.C. Just want to be clear on that. That is P.O.C. It's currently 9:19 a.m. And the Ontario police just did that, okay? Mike LORENZ is going to prison. That's the long and short of that. He's going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, the evidence of the entity stalking as a city. This is relevant to what is the state's pattern of conduct that is underway in the city of Ontario. So, big picture down to what I'm documenting moment by moment by moment. It is the state's pattern of conduct. I'm in the city of Ontario that is engaged in the conspiracy to murder me because the city of Ontario is gang stalking. Acting via a demon-possessed co-conspirator License 6X98156, stalking at Vine Avenue and C Street at 9:43 a.m. where the fake sun is over me at 427 West C Street, which is, again, the entity that's maintaining the fake sun while I'm at the Ontario Airport Inn. I'm taking a picture of the fake sun before I capture video at 9:56 a.m. I took a picture at around the same time right now. The fake sun's over me while I'm facing facilitating venue 427 West C Street. And that is, again, the entity that is stalking by Amazon Prime, co-conspirator of my murder. The Ontario International Airport and every airline is sharing in that criminal pattern of conduct. And then when you're putting it in that proper context, this is psychopathic pacing, including while I am in motion and the demon possessor crossing path with me at what are all of their facilitating venues, not private property. And you are under no circumstances exercising private property rights while you're engaged in surveillance, which is proven through the environment that surrounds me while I'm in your presence. Where you pay rent or mortgage or where you have sex for rent, whatever you do, wherever you're at, I'm going to prosecute you. That's why I prosecuted the Ontario Police at the Ontario Police Department, where at 9:16 a.m. during daylight savings time, there is no sun that's going to be over the roof of the OVITT Family Community Library at 8:16 a.m. But I've documented that at or around the exact same time, remaining until the end of the day, meaning it would never be over the Ontario Police Department at 2500 South Archibald, adjacent to the 60 freeway. But that's what I documented. And they were stalking me by helicopter at that facilitating venue, headquarters for the P.O.C. Mike LORENZ is out of a job and he's also going to prison. Okay? Whoever's relying on him to pay for their survival, they're going to need to make some other arrangements because he's going away. He's going away. This is documentation of the neighborhood. And that agency that's listening, that is mentally ill, engages in more psychopathic conduct. That's the national security threat. Okay, that's the national security threat. This is documentation of the neighborhood that is stalking while that fake sun remains over me, and a whole bunch of demons that are conspiring my murder, who are exhibiting severe mental instability that is a threat to the public, who will be prosecuted as an entity and prosecuted as an entity that's going to be broken down with regard to prosecuting as a corrupt population. All right, this is license 9EOW687, 9EOV248, 26561 Edward 2. 5 Henry 36856, 9TQB070, 7S 41783, crossing path at 417 West C Street in Ontario, California at 9:46 a.m. License 9 Sam Apple Bob 072, 8622472, 8 UND 513, Impossible Light across their own facilitating venue at 418 West C Street. That is 8 Uncle Nancy David 513. Gang stalking me where you live is inviting the feds to come raid you. But this is the entity that's gang stalking with the government, that is stalking me in planes and in helicopters under a fake sun at night under a fake moon, engaging in what is sexual violence as a population, molesting me with that which is not their headlights, and they're molesting now with that which is not sunlight while they're stalking. And share an obsession with my vagina. 7 Victor 88940. License plate 7XPV 817. C license 30698 Henry 4, 5 MHF 517 at what is facilitating venue 404 West C as in Charlie Street in Ontario, California. It's 9:47 a.m. The fake sun makes an ongoing abrupt movement at the speed that I am moving. It is not remaining over the Stater Brothers. It is not remaining over the bus stop at 537 North Euclid Avenue. It is not remaining over any person aboard Omnitrans, any route, for the entirety of that route, street for street and turn for turn. This is a light source that is speaking to what is targeting, identified by a mentally ill. That is the physical, carnal means of identifying demon possession, where criminal activity is also proven. Also exposed. License plate 88190 Bob 4. License 4NLL334. License stalking at the intersection of C Street and Fern. This is surveillance, not traffic. This is stalking, not stopping at a stop sign. 2 Latino males looking like they're under the age of majority. Impossible Light on the ground. EC77T86. That's a paper plate. License 9 Sam Paul Henry 630. That's a psychopath. That's a female. She looks unhinged, by the way. The entity is engaged in what is stalking me at C Street and Fern right now under the fake sun. I am at 325 North Fern Avenue at that intersection, and I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of the fake sun. And that's at 9:48 a.m., where the demon possessor is stalking as a population, doing so by their mental illness is the malice behind their stalking conduct. Oh, I'm just coincidentally stopping at a stop sign. Nothing to see here. In fact, you're paranoid. You are delusional while you think I'm stalking you. In fact, I would never stalk you. Look at you, you're homeless. I would never stalk you. X, Y, and Z, fill in the blank, all the psychopaths that you've heard engaged in what is monitoring me in the engineer light while they obsess over my vagina and are hostile psychopaths who are pacing and nonetheless monitoring while harassment is the form for the same exact pattern of conduct. Don't ever be distracted by Satan. That is indeed obsessed with me. That obsession is what is also triggering, because the demon-possessed that are obsessed don't want, in other words, that spirit doesn't want to be identified. That spirit is also psychopathic and delusional. Now that you're identified, meaning your criminal conduct is known, what are you doing now? Because you're not doing anything in secret. Also, now you're telling everybody, admitting everybody to everyone, because everyone is watching, oh, that you were stalking me when you were engaged in what is kidnapping me. 9RLG 349. Oh, you were stalking me when you claimed that you had probable cause to put handcuffs on me regarding allegations that were brought against me that were not true. So you were stalking and you knew that those weren't true allegations, and you committed a kidnapping while you're blatantly stalking in a helicopter because you're hostile about my evidence that I document, which is circling right back around to you as an agency for stalking. It is. Stater Brothers stalking me. It's letting you know what Mike Lorenz and that agency is doing. They are going to prison. Absolutely. But the entity is making a series of concessions, and they are demons that are not intelligent. They are demons. Demons monitor. That's it. They are not prepared or equipped for what is an intellectual breakdown of their criminal conduct, which is also directly indicative of their mental illness. While you analyze people who are engaging in what is deranged behaviors, while they call it practicing witchcraft. But they don't call it that because they're all acting like it's not happening, which is also relevant to their mental illness. License plate 7 Xavier David Yolanda 683. Thomas 143 Nancy 0. And I did capture an image of that fake sun over me. Let me go ahead and capture it, make sure I did. Again, I'm going to capture another, and where the entity is stalking by airport. 5 Wendy Edward Xavier 300 stalking, crossing path while the entity is crossing path above me, flying right over. There's no takeoff, obviously. Obviously, you're acting like you're taking off over the 280 North Lemon Apartments last night while I'm at the OVITT Family Community Library. So why are you still hovering? And also, that's common sense questions, common sense scrutiny. They're stalking, and they're also stalking proven by science. The fake sun is over me at 325 West C Street at what is 9:51 a.m. November 30th, 2025, standard time. So it's the same time. The entity has the fake sun outside of the window of the Ontario Airport Inn that is facing the 10 freeway, facing Archibald Avenue and specifically. And my evidence before daylight savings time ended is that fake sun remained over me at that hotel after 5 p.m. And so the entity that moves that fake sun as I check out on November 30th is the entity that's stalked with the fake sun, because it's not going to both be there after 5 p.m. like I documented early November, and then on November 30th when I am checking out, then all of a sudden it's over me at 12 o'clock in the afternoon as I check out, and then it's over me at the Ontario Town Square like nothing happened, like I didn't already document the fact that that fake sun remained over that hotel, and so on and so on. We go with documentation of proving an entity stalking. 8 Uncle Larry Bob 611. This is an entity that is, again, a demon-possessed public entity. All right, an entity that is engaging in one. So this is following the wordplay, if you will. This is a public entity that's engaging in a demonic behavioral pattern, and it is relevant to exposing criminal activity that is actually the practice of witchcraft. And this is how it is public corruption in plain sight, because they're engaging in that which is demonic. It is relevant to an ability to discern, but also prove with tangible evidence in a court of law. That's how you prosecute Satan, because we do not conduct witch hunts in the United States of America. We don't conduct witch hunts in court. So it's not a matter of what you can discern, it's a matter of what you can prove. And the P.O.C. provides both. Okay, this is about exposing the reality of the spiritual realm. If you are an unbeliever and you deny the existence of God, that's something that you need to be informed about. It behooves you to pay attention. seriously. And it's also relevant to literally your safety, your life. You need to know the information. And not only that, it is the reality of Christ Jesus, who is merciful and loving and wants you to know the truth about what is going on in this country, and that it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse, and that the entity's engaging in what is stalking me. The entity does this to people on a regular basis and has been engaging in it for ages, murdering people and maintaining a whole system in order to conceal that. And it is also because it is the practice of witchcraft. It is amongst the demon-possessed. The demon possession is relevant to what is invisible. It's a spirit and you can't see it. But you are able to be fully aware of it by the pattern of conduct. Demons that are monitoring you. 9 Henry Mary Wendy 680, stalking at C Street and Palm Avenue at 9:54 a.m. where the entity is maintaining the fake sun at the Ontario Airport Inn. And that's just one example, okay? Traffic, again, in that specific environment is surveillance. This is not traffic, this is stalking. And it is the absurd and tangible evidence of that stalking system. While you're walking around in engineer light and you have a shadow appearing in the shade, you're being gang stalked. You're being targeted, you're under surveillance. While you have what is light that's manifesting out of nowhere, oh, it's supposedly doing jumping jacks, it's ricocheting off of the window because the sun is so low for that to happen. And then that sun that's ricocheting off of a low-hanging building, a 2-story building, then it's ricocheting and like a laser shooting across the street as you walk into the shape of the object which that fake sun is hitting in order to create your shadow on the street. While at the same time, where you're documenting and you're aware of what the demons are doing, but you have to prove it in a court of law with evidence, the entity's engaging in what is that pattern of conduct while the Ontario police are demons molesting me. They want to touch on my bottom. That's what that demon just did. That agency, I've already proven every single last one of them are out of a job. And every single last one that I documented, they're going to prison. So that's what this sex offender does, trying to engage in sexual violence, shine and run. That's a demon. That's a demon on that person. The Ontario police have no business in law enforcement. And they're also doing that while they want me to stop talking about, and they don't control anything. They don't even control their own minds. Why would you think? Because you're a demon-possessed psychopath, a delusional one, that's not magical, just mental, that you think that you're going to control me or what I'm saying or what I'm doing. I'm prosecuting you. I've been prosecuting you. You're going to prison for every criminal act that you committed while I've been prosecuting you. You are not stopping it. You don't have the power to stop it, Satan. The entities engage in this pattern of conduct, and when you're looking at that sort of circus environment, this is not a reindeer run 5K. This is the P.O.C. by the City of Ontario conspiring murder. That's why you have demons in police uniforms and police vehicles stalking under a fake sun. They just conducted the whole 5K run, and the fake sun was remaining over me on the opposite side of town. I bring the fake sun while they're all stalking and monitoring while they conduct the 5K run on Euclid Avenue. And my evidence places that fake sun, which is not going to be so low that it's beside a 2-story building and a window ricocheting as it's reflecting, and then it's creating what is the shape of that object that it's touching for you to create your for it to create your shadow in it. That's not sunlight, and that is absurdity. That absurdity is a direct indicator regarding the spirit that are in people that is mentally ill. Okay, the environment is where you are referring to when you're looking at the entity that is going to maintain a code of silence, the entity that's engaging in what is criminal conduct that is deranged, criminal conduct that is sexually motivated, criminal conduct that is demonic at its core. The entity doesn't have to state a word. Anyway, they don't. You can conduct an entire investigation and not say a word to the psychopaths that are stalking you. And I want to be clear, that triggers the demons in them. That is how you get what is the introverted psychopath becomes all of a sudden an extrovert. Okay, they start speaking all manner of expletives, and they begin attacking you, and they begin making false allegations when at first you were acting like you didn't know I was there, and then all of a sudden I'm harassing you when I didn't even speak to you. When did that happen? What were you talking about? That's where those demons come out, those demons that were there the entire time. When we're getting to demons, we're talking about personality disorders, we're talking about mental illness, we're talking about behavioral health issues. And this is no ordinary mental health issue or concern. This is a threat to national security because demons act in groups. This is group stalking, gang stalking, domestic terrorism, gang violence. The Ontario Police Department, sex offenders in police vehicles. That's exactly what is going to be wiped out, eliminated. No more Ontario Police Department. In other words, Satan is not going to be able to masquerade and abuse abuse authority and abuse power that it does not have, so that it can create, manufacture what is a criminal record regarding what is criminal defamation regarding my name, Erica Lorenz Spencer, who is here to let you know that demons are real, that witchcraft is real, that Christ Jesus, moreover, who is over all, and all spirits are under him. He created he created everything. He even created Satan, who is a spirit. Satan is a created being. He is not a God. And by the way, he is not a G. He's not a gangster. He is not all powerful and omnipotent. That's why he has a whole state full of demons that are stalking me together. That's letting you know about the absence of power. They're being embarrassed while they're all stalking me. That's letting you know about the absence of being any sort of gangster. They're not. They're not magicians either. They're not. All of their work together, all of the demons together, all of that witchcraft, all of the numerosity, guess what? It is no comparison with the power of Christ Jesus, who rose from the dead. He's the only person that ever did that. Okay? He is God himself. That is his name, Christ Jesus. And he rose from the dead in order that you can have new life, so that you do not succumb to what is death that the entity that I'm exposing has succumbed to. They're all dead. They are under the power of Satan. It is not that Satan isn't powerful. He is not more powerful than Christ God himself, though. Satan has to go through my Lord and Savior to touch any aspect of my life. He has to go through him. And the Lord God only permits that which is going to serve his purposes. Okay, paraphrasing scripture, all things work for the good of those who love him and who've been called according to his purposes. That's what the Lord God permits when you belong to him. This is what this is about. Not only has Satan been embarrassed, Satan knows that he is not able to do what these demons sought out to do. And this is why I just want to be clear. They're being embarrassed because Satan betrayed them. Satan lied to them. In case you did not know, Satan doesn't have any friends. Satan got a whole bunch of people to take themselves out in his name, which is all he wants, even if it's in a lie. He wants to be like God. That's nothing like God at all. But he wants, if you will affirm him, if you will give allegiance to him for 2 seconds, even if it's based on a lie, Satan will take it. He'll take it. Even if you sacrifice yourself regarding that which he knows who he can't take out. He knows whom he cannot touch. The demons don't. These demon-possessed fools do not. They sacrifice themselves. They took themselves out. And they're stalking. The stalking is the practice of witchcraft, actually. They're still obsessing over witchcraft that's not working. And that is because they have suffered what is a mental breakdown. And it is proven through their criminal acts of targeting me. Literally, as I document from moment to moment, a fake sun, stalking with light, stalking as a city, stalking as a population that share knowledge about me. How do you know? How can I prove that they all know and that you're not a paranoid schizophrenic? Paranoia, schizophrenia, these complex mental health issues are spiritual, by the way, and it's demonic. The demon-possessed that seek to criminally defame are projecting their mental issues onto the targeted individual. They are actually paranoid, and let me tell you why. I'm not going to go deeper than that, but the reason why they are projecting is because they are paranoid, which is a spirit, because they are possessed by Satan, and they have what is a lot of, I would say, to put it in terms of reaping, and they are fearful of how they're going to reap regarding what it is that they have sown. And this is speaking to what is spiritual truth, and it's not, understand spiritual truth, objective truth, in other words, isn't based on what you believe or what you choose to believe. You maintain a constitutional right. You maintain your own discretion, your own ability to choose, a human right to choose what you want to believe. You do. And that's God-given. God gave you the right to choose. And so moreover, the absurdity that Satan is going to force himself on me. But nonetheless, this is what Satan does. Satan is a rapist. Satan is a stalker. Satan is an abuser. Satan is a bully. Satan does not ask. Hence gang stalking. Okay? But I want to be clear. The entity that engages in this pattern of conduct, you're doing so while
Objective truth is existing in and of itself outside of whether you want to concede to it or not. We all see the fake sun. And you can also see out there in New Orleans, the sun that is over you is not the fake sun that is reflecting off of license 9HMW680. We're in two totally different locations. And that which is in that state is not reflecting off of this demon's license plate. And that's how I can prosecute this entire state of California. Because there's only one sun, the exclusivity of that light source. And because sunlight does not engage in what is coming from a sun that's beside buildings, ricochet, reflecting off of objects, reflecting like laser off of those objects, creating the shape of those objects, the images of those objects. Sunlight does not just manifest out of nowhere in the shade. You do not have a shadow that manifests in the shade, the absence of light, and yet you're still looking at it. This is speaking to what is the illusion of the natural environment, where the entity is practicing witchcraft, and the entity is made up of demons, and the entity that is the Ontario Police is being disbanded. Those psychopaths engage in what is literally pacing around me, engaging in what is overtly mentally ill behavior. But I have even more than that, because they're doing it under a fake sun. You are mentally ill by definition, as this will be understood and recognized under federal law, where you're engaged in what is targeting. Everybody knows that surveillance is underway and that the demon-possessed are engaged in monitoring, and they know what are your behavioral patterns, and they know what the government's pattern of conduct is if you engage in targeting someone in furtherance of murder. And it's an unlawful threat, and it's government action, state action. It's not a secret anymore. So now you're doing it in front of everyone. And that remains also an objective reality. This is not, none of this evidence is based on your opinion and whether you want to agree that the fake sun is reflecting off of his windshield and that you can't see that in New Orleans. That's not the same object. That's not in Missouri. That's not in Florida, which is 3 hours ahead of us. And it's also not going anywhere. So Florida, by definition of the natural environment, would never have the sun because these idiots in Ontario, California are keeping it over me at one building. And then they engage in an outright departure from that when I stay at the grocery store. Under all circumstances, the sun is never in Florida. It's never even in Riverside, California. But I went to Riverside and I documented them gang stalking. And I went to Fontana and I documented them gang stalking me under a fake sun. And I lived and traveled through in and out of Los Angeles and I documented them gang stalking me under a fake sun. And it is impossible that you would have that supernatural environment and nobody knows that it's there. Not only is it impossible, it is unreasonable, as the law would acknowledge that. It is unreasonable, and it's also unreasonable, and it's impossible, in fact, that you have that supernatural, scientifically impossible environment and the ongoing shared behavioral pattern of the people of the state who don't know that you're being harassed with that which is supernatural because light doesn't shoot off of your car. Headlights don't engage in what is shooting off to the side when you're driving by. Your shadow doesn't appear at a distance projected in front of you while you are just driving by, and that fake sun is remaining over one person, but it's not doing the same thing with everyone else. You're not ignorant, and you're not ignorant of that, but you are ignorant to think that no one is going to recognize that, and that still no. Well, they're looking at it on the internet. Your witchcraft is not working, and you were never some elite magician. These are demons. This is the work of Satan. Satan is a spirit. Satan also knows what his limits are. And you are witnessing the deceiver himself, who wants as many people as possible to burn in the pit of hell with him, while they commit mass acts of suicide, targeting people that they never should have targeted in the first place. And they're still targeting. They're still stalking. Just want to make sure that that is all clear. That is what is behind a whole airport devoting its time and energy, resources and money, people, to what is stalking one person. That is also a concession regarding actual power and authority. While you are under all circumstances engaged in what is criminal conduct, harassing and terrorizing conduct that nobody is reasonably questioning anymore. So now you're doing it in front of everyone, and you were always stalking. You were always engaged in what is stalking in furtherance of a criminal objective. And while you engage in what is gang violence, it is terrorism in the United States. The demon-possessed are not engaging in any sort of logical reasoning. They're not engaged in any sort of legal reasoning. They're not engaged in any sort of common sense type behavior. All they're doing is monitoring, and they rely on the corrupt government to make it all go away. They get away with crime. It's organized crime. This was never designed to be broken down and analyzed to show you how this is, but they never planned for that, ever. And you don't when you're already dead. you're dead. The spirit of death compels you. Okay? License plate. Demons pacing at C Street and Palm. License plate GF43Y29 paper and license 9FIJ003. While the entity is amplifying the sound of train activity, Union Pacific is going to be federally prosecuted with regard to what is, again, the unnatural environment. They're doing so under the fake sun. Targeting is also identified through the audible noise in the environment. They're monitoring. License 70858 Edward 3. But since the entity likes to utilize the sound reminiscent of the sound of a train, Union Pacific is going to be federally prosecuted. That's the entity that if the entity is mimicking the sound of that which is amplified audible activity, it's not the actual train, and nor does any train have to be on the tracks while the entity is targeting. This is all demonic conduct. It's witchcraft. But the entity is engaging in that. That is also letting you know that, and I've also documented Union Pacific actually stalking in Pomona, California on the train tracks under the fake sun while I'm at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. Okay, so I have documented this. But while this is the pattern of these demons. If they are utilizing the sound reminiscent of some type of audible activity, that is the entity that is admittedly engaging in that criminal pattern of conduct. But the entity engages in that when there's not even a train on the tracks, and were a train on the tracks, EH97V49 paper plate is not going to be in the environment next to me where it's going to be heard throughout the city of Ontario. That's called amplification, and it's demonic. And that third party is threatening my life and safety and well-being while stalking me under such circumstances and keeping my evidence of her stalking, her or him stalking me under surveillance while still stalking in furtherance of murder. 9VQH980. 4USX828. This is P.O.C. All right, and this is the neighborhood that is stalking as an airport, as a police department, coming by and engaging in what is sexual violence. These are the demons that are obsessed with my vagina. The entity that is stalking by helicopter, that's the entity that goes into the bathroom stall sitting in a wheelchair because you want to sit there as a hostile demon. Understand that that's a demon that's residing in a person. It's the same personality. It's the same personality. It's the same entity. And with regard, legally speaking, that is the same city of Ontario acting vicariously, going into the bathroom, sitting in a wheelchair, because that's the guise of, I want to sit right here and stalk you in the path, because that's what they really want to do. But they have to share the pattern of conduct amongst an entity. Satan is obsessed with me and really wants to sit there and go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth right there in front of me. That's what that spirit does. It does it amongst the population. Using a demon-possessed third party in a wheelchair in that small bathroom is what is an act of harassment and sexual violence as an entity that wants to have a physical, carnal excuse for stalking right outside of the bathroom stall doors. That's what that's about, breaking that down. But you're prosecuting for what is under all circumstances a third party. That's the government stalking me in the bathroom, and I'm going to prosecute. In fact, you're not remaining as a police department because you are stalking me in a bathroom. Nobody has ever engaged in that while you want to feign being you're not a police officer. You are a psychopath weirdo. And you're being disbanded for it. Because that's what's happening at the OVITT Family Community Library, stalking in a bathroom. 9CSF443. It's a demon that is acting as an entity that is hostile, that wants to stalk right there in the bathroom stall while monitoring my vagina. And it's also a third party that is vicariously stalking in the path in the engineered light in that specific environment on behalf of that agency. That is stalking in police vehicles and in helicopters everywhere that I go, including in that bathroom. 7FNH002. And they share in that obsession with my vagina. They share in that hostility. It is communicated through the environment. It is communicated through one person, which represents not an individual, an entity. And entities will be losing custody of their children in court. Entities will be prosecuted in civil court regarding conspiring murder as gang stalking companies. Entities will be deported out of the United States of America, them and their kids. Them and whatever business you created, you're not staying. I don't care what your veteran stat. Terrorism is the line, and there will be no negotiation with terrorists. 8PDG211, S36476, that's a paper plate regarding what is Virginia on what is a Subaru Forester. I'm going to go ahead and take a picture because this looks literally, you can print it up on your laptop. And then, this is P.O.C. And this is the entity that is gang stalking. It is currently, by the way, 10:12 a.m. The fake sun is not over the, it's not over the OVITT Family Community Library. These are demons that are stalking. License plate 8NFK278. And these are demons that are engaging in that while they call it the 5K reindeer run. These are demons that are stalking in the path. They're doing so in the absence of a fake sun, right? The fake sun remains over me. What is remaining over all of the property? Okay, this is what I'm speaking to, what training you with regard to recognizing the illusion. It's also an illusion that these are normal people. These are demons that surround us, and you need to be aware of their presence. It is the Nephilim. 8NZD209, 9TSB972, 9WDK908, 8YHH140, 9FPP902. And fake sun remains over me as I am approaching Euclid Avenue, walking in the direction east, and there is no sun that's already remaining over Euclid Avenue, where Jay Sandoval is stalking at the bus stop and reiterating a threat that I have to play in court to prosecute that agency, to disband it, to prosecute Mike Lorenz specifically, Derek Williams specifically, and to prosecute Jay Sandoval and the people of the state. Because there is a pattern of conduct of criminal summoning upon stalking. There's a pattern of kidnapping upon criminal summoning. And there is a pattern of obstruction of justice, which is what Jay Sandoval is engaging in, under a son that is engaged in an outright abandonment from being anywhere near 537 North Euclid Avenue, where demons are stalking with her, 7XGX129 included, engaging in what is communicating a threat. While their audible activity, they're all monitoring while Jay Sandoval utters, if I don't leave the bus stop, I'm going to jail, and is engaging in that while these demons are psychopaths pacing. The demons are monitoring to what is a vocalized threat. And that, I want to be clear, to psychopaths, that's sexually gratifying. These are psychopaths that are perverts, that are obsessed with their disdain, with their 57328 Edward 3, license plate 5LIF263. And that obsession, that ongoing hatred is because they are demon possessed, because you don't even know me and you're stalking me. And that's not a controversy. It's not a mystery. You're stalking because you are demon possessed. You're hostile toward me because you are demon possessed. The demons in them do not like to be identified. They have the audacity to have some sort of ego. 7PCL464. But guess what? News break, headline news. You are not magical. None of you are magicians. You're mental health patients. I just want to be clear on that. This is the entity that is being exposed as such. And Satan deceives you by making you stalkers, making you thieves, making you pedophiles, making you rapists, making you homosexuals. And you're thinking you're getting some spiritual power. No, he's just made you perverts. He's made you demon-possessed idiots, deceived, taken over by Satan, pacing as a department. License 8HXX760 and 8VAB823 under the fake sun, including the demons of the Ontario Police. While they're listening to the fact that none of them, because there is nothing to be proud of with regard to practicing witchcraft. This is the dead. These are the lost. These are the children of the devil. But moreover, then not only are they being prosecuted, the children of the devil are being embarrassed because they're not even magicians. They are a population of what are closeted mentally ill people. And they're not closeted anymore. They're also a bunch of closeted homosexuals, and that's what you need to know. License 26733 Edward 4. Literally, the females that are stalking me, and the gang stalking males that are intimidated by me, stalking and obsessed with me based on their intimidation, and they're still obsessed with me. They're stalking me, and they're also demons that engage in homosexual activity because Satan told them that they will garner spiritual power when they engage in gay sex. And that's letting you know, by the way, informing that's mentally ill behavior. You're sick. The entity, this is the practice of witchcraft. They engage in gang sex, group sex. They engage in all manner of sick, depraved, deranged conduct, and they think that they're garnering spiritual power. Power that's going to overwhelm the targeted individual, and then the spell work's going to, no. All you're doing is pacing. You're pacing. And everybody sees the engineer light dragging behind a vehicle. That's a scientific impossibility. Everybody sees the great, tremendous, elaborate schemes that you've engaged in targeting one person. They're looking at the failed witchcraft. They have connected the dots regarding the fake sun, the engineer light, the ongoing psychopathic pacing. They recognize that it's spiritually significant. In other words, they know that you're practicing witchcraft. They know that your witchcraft isn't working on me. They are witnessing a prosecution in the physical and a spiritual embarrassment amongst a suicide mission amongst the demon-possessed. They know all of that, and nobody's imagining anything. You are not magicians. You're mental health patients. You are not magicians. You are mental health patients. You have been tricked into homosexuality. You've been tricked into pedophilia. He has made you perverts and criminals. That's what Satan does. John 10:10. The thief comes but not to steal, kill, and destroy. He has destroyed you and your mind, and he stole your right mind a long time ago. And now you're just being embarrassed because the prosecution was completed years ago. It was complete years ago. You thought that you were doing something. No, this is a great setup by heaven, the Lord God himself. And his name is Jesus Christ. 9SPH630, 8FRM683. All right, these are the demon-possessed that are stalking as a population. And the focus is not the reindeer run. The focus is me. The fake sun is over me approaching as I'm approaching Euclid Avenue. And the demons are maintaining noise in the fake sun, parked in the middle of the street. Under the guise of looking for parking, they're pacing. And if this was a natural environment, the sun would be, first of all, it would be in, I mean, pick a day, any day, pick a year, any year. But let's just use yesterday, the sun would already be over the OVITT Family Community Library. And this demon, license 9MAP083, would not have engineer light fanning across the wall, across the street, while that psychopath is stalking me in furtherance of murdering me with the demons that are being put out of a job and being put in prison. The Ontario Police Department, because they're stalking in the path. They're parked in the engineer light. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:19 a.m. The entity is under this fake sun at this same intersection at 6 o'clock in the evening, stalking me by helicopter. This is the pattern of conduct where they're doing so, engaging that P.O.C. under the guise of maintaining what is an environment of a city program. I'm going to capture video of this right now. All right, this is the pattern of conduct. This is the fake sun that has remained over me coming from Stater Brothers. That's all audible activity. It's intentional with regard to targeting and clearly identifying targeting in that environment where the sun is not already over the OVITT Family Community Library. It's not over there. And this is where it's at when I'm walking in, and the entity inside of the OVITT Family Community Library is crossing paths just like they are outside. He's walking into the light monitoring in the shade. He's a demon and he's monitoring, and so are the people of the state, demons that are monitoring under a fake sun. It's not the sun, neither is this sunlight. Okay, so this is all intentional, deliberate evidence of targeting conduct. This is the P.O.C. That's all audible activity while light is manifesting in the shade. These are the demons that were engaged in police training at 7:15 in the morning during daylight savings time. Everybody had their big guns out because Satan feels powerful when he's holding up a gun. And he thinks that he's engaged in what is psychological torture that nobody identifies, nobody knows what's going on, that they're engaged in police work, and that a paranoid schizophrenic is the one that they're encountering. Oh, okay, I just want to be clear. News break. They're going to prison for gang stalking. It is currently 10:20 a.m. during Standard Pacific time, and this is engineer light, where you're looking at impossible light activity, and you're looking at a demon that's wearing a police uniform, bearing guns, demonstrating the pattern of conduct by that agency, the same agency that was stalking by helicopter at the Stater Brothers and flying over the top of my head, all manner of targeting in that environment. And they're also stalking by helicopter, as I'm documenting on June 6, 2025, during daylight savings time, after 6 p.m., after walking out of the OVITT Family Community Library, where the sun would not be over the same intersection. The sun is never engaging in what is this conduct naturally, and the sun is also not going to be here when it's remaining over venues such as the Ontario Airport Inn, where I'm remaining checked into a hotel. What is this? This is all psychopathic pacing. These are the demon-possessed. And Pollyanna is being removed from office. I am showing you from event to event and also day to day that the entity is maintaining what is public corruption. And this is criminal surveillance under the guise of being the reindeer run, 5K run. It's a criminal pattern of conduct, and they're demons under a fake sun. Audible activity in your life, P.O.C. And that's also mental illness. Black lives don't matter amongst the black gang stalkers that are targeting with corrupt law enforcement. By the way, that's why they are caught stealing and laundering money with regard to those false and deceptive narratives, especially in California when they're gang stalking. They don't care about Black Lives Matter. And by the way, the demon-possessed do not have a race. You're dealing with an invisible spirit. And you identify that spirit by what is over all of it. And who are they targeting? The one that has the fake sign over me. And the entity is stalking, just like they were this morning at Stater Brothers, by helicopter on June 6, 2025. The fake sun is over the same intersection, C Street and Euclid Avenue. And the sun is not going to remain for that duration of time, daylight savings time or not. And also, this is not sunlight. This is the entity engaging in that P.O.C. They're going to be disbanded, and they know they're going to prison, and they're still engaging in that P.O.C. They know they're going to prison. This is P.O.C. They're not magicians. They're mental health patients. That's P.O.C. That's the pattern of conduct. It is currently, by the way, 10:23 a.m. Alrighty, I captured that video. And the entity is engaged in that gang stalking pattern of conduct with the Ontario Police Department of all races, by the way. The people of the state are engaging in that P.O.C. Gang stalking, demon-possessed minions that are black. Gang stalking, demon-possessed minions that are white. Gang stalking, demon-possessed minions that are Latino. Gang stalking, demon-possessed minions that are Asian. And any other flavor that you want to throw in there. Satan does not have a race, and he has no loyalty to any color or creed. It's the demon-possessed that want to separate you with what is, again, the inability to recognize when you are divisive in your mindset like that, then you're going to miss the pattern of conduct altogether, because it's not about race. But when you're going to prosecute people, oh, you're in this country and you're an immigrant and you're gang stalking, you're out of here. You're a terrorist. Very easy to get rid of that. Very easy. All right, this is the entity that's engaging in what is that pattern of conduct amongst groups that provide what are false narratives, deceptive narratives. And it's serving the surveillance system, by the way, that Black Lives Matter, while they are organizing in the streets, and they're doing so with LAPD, while they're all under a fake sun organizing, Black Lives Matter, I'm just giving you an example. I was subject to that in Los Angeles in 2020. They were gang stalking. They were gang stalking. Same black folks talking about Black Lives Matter organizing. They were doing it with LAPD under the fake sun. They were doing it at Cesar Chavez and Union Station. Fake sun over me, LAPD in position, engaged in criminal summoning under the guise of maintaining order, maintaining law and order. They were monitoring together, while in the physical, the carnal, what you're looking at on the surface are the people that are organizing and the police that are making sure that they're maintaining order, and they are together targeting me. This is the entity that is, again, what is exploiting, what is deceiving the masses. And in California, black people are targeting black people. You know why? Because it's a spirit, and we are not unified by race. There are those who are in darkness. My brothers and sisters that know Christ Jesus, there is no race. And they're in the body of Christ, we are one. First of all, that's a worldly, secular, demonic philosophy. And that is, again, of the devil that wants to separate. But I will prosecute with regard to, and I will also expose the ways in which they exploit, where they want you to think, oh, we need to be pro this and we need to be pro that. Guess what? These so-called pro-black people are out here gang stalking me. They're so-called sister. They're stalking and monitoring in furtherance of murder. Okay, this is what Jason Fields is doing, having sex with my mom. They're both black people gang stalking. Eric could not be blacker, and he's gang stalking his so-called sister. I can go on, because I know plenty of black folks that are out here engaging in what is hypocritical conduct. And I'm not surprised. You don't put your faith in man, they're demons. This is the P.O.C, however. That's what's relevant when you're getting to the social issues amongst the demon-possessed that wanted to engage in divisive conduct. Satan is the one that's out here murdering people. Satan is the one that's out here targeting based on race. All races. Okay? And I want to make sure that you recognize that, because that's what's behind when you're listening to me capture video. This is a blackface demon that's gang stalking a black woman in furtherance of murdering her, doing so maliciously. This is psychological torture, while they're engaging in what is the pattern of conduct under the guise of a city program. And they're engaging in that with knowledge, evidence. This entire entity is very much hostile. The entity targets me as I am showing you event after event after event. The fake sun is still here after 6 p.m., the food festival. A. Morris is gang stalking. This is the same street. A. Morris is gang stalking Corporal Robledo, gang stalking, as I'm documenting. This is the same Euclid Avenue, and the fake sun is here after 6 p.m. where they're engaged, the same agency. And this is how you're looking at the bigger pattern of conduct. They're just stalking me from day to day to day. But I've been maintaining a body of evidence proving, including science and scripture, which is on my side. They don't have a leg to stand on, in addition to what is my evidence by itself. By itself. Because NASA is conceding, shall concede. There is no expert that is going to aid this entity. But the entity already knows. This is without controversy. The entity is blatantly stalking, and a whole city is stalking while they maintain events which are simultaneously serving criminal activity, facilitating criminal activity, egregious, okay, deranged, a very demented criminal activity. All of these people are engaged in bathroom monitoring as you go inside of any venue, and that fake sun remains over me. The entire city that's out here calling itself a 5K reindeer run with children are engaged in bathroom monitoring, vagina monitoring. Okay, Satan wants you to always look at the exterior, look at the surface, look at the thing on the outside. Don't look at the substance of the thing. If you look at the substance of the thing, no, I don't want you to do that. Just focus on how glittery and shiny and how pretty it looks on the outside. Or if I say that it's ugly, focus on how hideous and how ugly it looks. Don't look any deeper than that, because I don't want you to recognize its true beauty and unique character. Whatever it is, whatever illusion that Satan is trying to present. Okay, Satan is always relying on the surface of the thing. Satan cannot deal with facts. And Satan, I want to be clear, the demon-possessed were never prepared for the P.O.C., a body of evidence that is not only a study, not only evidence to prosecute, but it is a repository of information that you can refer to with regard to what is informing yourself, and also being aware of how this system, this is a corrupt government system, surveillance, which is underway in the United States, and it's also relevant for you informing yourself day to day. The malice, if you are naive, if you are projecting your goodness onto other people, which is what I formerly used to do. I used to watch 48 Hours in Dayline. I know that there are bad people out there. I went to law school to put them in prison, okay? But I did not know that that was right in my life, surrounding me, like in my home. There was a connection that the Lord God needed to make in order for me to recognize that. The immediacy of that threat, the immediacy of that evil. It's not far away out there. It's right here. It's in the fake church. Satan is right there surrounding you. And that's what the Lord God doesn't want you to be ignorant of. Those of you who are listening and he is giving you this message, I don't know who you are, but he knows who you are. And I'm just doing what he told me to do, okay? In addition to that, I'm enforcing my rights on prosecuting the government. And this is advocacy with regard to American citizens that can even refer to the P.O.C. in order to prosecute the government that targets you. All right, it is currently, by the way, 10:29 a.m. The entity has the fake sun over Euclid Avenue and C Street, where the airport is stalking with the 5K reindeer run. Where the entity is stalking under the 6 p.m. fake sun, the food festival, the Route 66 car show. This is the entity that's engaged in that P.O.C., the same pattern of conduct. There are no airport takeoffs over here, and you already know that. They're engaged in all manner of U-turns. They're doing so while the fake sun remains over me. They're doing so while a bunch of demons are together engaging in what is failed witchcraft. All right, this is relevant to things you need to be aware of with regard to what you participate in, also unknowingly. Going to concerts, demons regarding artists that you like and their demons, and you're participating in rituals, and I'm not damning you, but I'm stating that you need to not be ignorant. And these are the wicked, evil times that we're in, and there will be a time where you're going to be held accountable because you've been warned and you have a responsibility to inform yourself. It will not be enough to stand before the Lord God and be like, I didn't know. And you're talking about what is information that's being readily made. He is giving warnings. He is advising you. He is letting you know. And for you to remain ignorant is for you to make a decision. You're making a decision. So I just want to be clear on that. This is how real life works. But when you're going to these concerts, that's it. I'm just giving you a concert as another example. A concert is another example of a large group amount of people. And you're engaging even through music, which is a very powerful tool that Satan uses as well. And you are participating in that which is satanic, ritualistic conduct that you're ignorant about while you are there with innocent intentions. So this is not me damning you. I'm not condemning you right now. I'm letting you know to be aware. Because you've been given information that you're supposed to utilize and be mindful of and take affirmative action with. You cannot passively participate in what Satan is engaging in anymore. You can't passively do that anymore. I'm just giving the message, okay? The times are going to end. When you're doing that, these are people that are suicidal. These are people that are becoming increasingly desperate. These are people that are engaging in what is violence in the name of Satan. And they're going to become more violent. And when you are ignorant and you are gathering, congregating with them, and you don't know what sort of threat that you are exposing yourself to or people that you care about, these are the things you need to be mindful of, cognizant of. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. The fake sun does follow to the OVITT Family Community Library. It is currently 10:32 a.m. The fake sun is, again, not quite over the entry. The video that I just captured is the fake sun, and I'm referring you to actually several. It's not even several. I have years and even of 2025. So I will attach, like I always do, videos looking at the illusion and the entities engaged in criminal conduct with the people of the state. Relevant information, relevant lessons that you can deduce from that. The entity engaging in that pattern of conduct with black people, don't be surprised. You see, quote unquote, law enforcement, they're demons, first of all. Black people who are demon possessed, yes, that exists. Did you not know that? And also those that are wearing uniforms and police uniforms, which has no legitimacy. That entire agency is stalking. They were stalking by helicopter this morning. That fake sun remained over me as I walked toward this venue that should have had it already over the entrance, and I should have been documenting the fact that I was walking closer to the sun, but that's not the case because all these demons calling it a 5K reindeer run are engaged in the pattern of conduct. These are demon-possessed people, an entire city full of them, who are monitoring. And they come up with events like this to engage in that pattern of conduct, so that they feel comfortable engaging what is actually pacing. Satan needs a cloak. This is massive witchcraft. Witchcraft that doesn't work. Witchcraft that's ricocheting and back, it's boomeranging onto them. And this is unfortunate. It's an unfortunate reality, but nonetheless, I am prosecuting and I am capturing what is that entity that is engaged in that. And you're looking at demons that are wearing police uniforms, demons that are of all races together targeting. And then you're looking at what is the physical ways in which you're looking at how the entity seeks to conceal that. Divisive conduct, such as the loss of life of an American citizen was because they were black. That is not irrelevant, but it is not the key issue. That's my point. It's not like I've never been subject to racism. All these demons are racist. I understand that, but understand, let me be clear. So are the ones that are black. This is getting to this is beyond the color of your skin. It is a spirit that inspires that hatred. Hatred also for no reason whatsoever. Hatred because you don't like the way I'm able to articulate and that my nouns agree with my verbs. That I don't sound like some barefoot pregnant ghetto banshee that you could stereotype. They're angry about that. They're angry because I'm more educated than them, as though we're competing. I don't even know you while you're monitoring my vagina. They're upset because I'm able to pull together those relevant ideas that trigger them when you remain the stalker. They're triggered by all that. Hatred for a plethora of reasons, including race. That is not the underlying key. They are demons. Satan hates you. Satan hates you who are serving the Lord. He hates you. He's targeting you because he has everybody else under lock and key. He has them. Understand that. Racism is a spirit. It is of a spirit, and it is relevant. It's not irrelevant, it is relevant, but it is not the underlying factor, and that is a distraction when they engage in that. They being this very entity, the demon possessed. It's because of race, and it's because of what's going on in this neighborhood, and those are demons that are suffering with those sort of complexes in their mind, those complexes in their mind. Those are demons. And under all circumstances, they're gang stalking. So when you want to get past that superficial veil, then what? Because black people are acting with so-called police departments in the pattern of conduct against other black people. That's what I represent. As a black woman, I don't represent black people. As a black woman, I am representing what are false narratives. That's how the Lord God is using me. I'm representing what are many false narratives and stereotypes that I don't fit in. I don't fit into any of those boxes. So the entities, and moreover, targeting me with other black people that like to claim, especially in Cali, that Black Lives Matter, but they're out here gang stalking together. And it's a statewide P.O.C. There's no exception. The exception is me. Unfortunately, that's the reality. I don't have any partners out here. This is the entity that's engaging in that. And the entity that is targeting somebody that is serving the Lord God, you are going to know, because the Lord God is not going to permit that. He's not going to permit it. This is why you have what you're going to witness, and what you are witnessing, a massive act of suicide by the demon possessed, who tried to murder me and tried to defame my character to get away with murdering me after they also stole from me. These are just all of the real life lessons that you're extracting when you're getting past the illusion, the reality of the spiritual realm. Those that are in darkness and those that are trying to cloak themselves, that is again remaining on, existing amongst what is a whole fake existence. Not only are their body parts fake, their whole lifestyle, their whole illusion that they exist in, including their persona on the internet. Everything about them is fake. Even the way they speak, okay? In the same way that they take off their hair at night, they take off their their persona regarding being a nice, caring person. They're demons that hate themselves and other people. This is what is a population that is gang stalking. Understand, gang stalking is a furtherance of murder. They derive pleasure. This is the reality. While they're smiling and setting up for the rain under the fake sun that's remaining over me, they're smiling and conducting themselves. They're having the greatest time. This is the most splendid thing ever. And they're doing so with their children. Oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. That's the entity that is engaged in what is criminal conduct in furtherance of murdering somebody. And you are never supposed to know about that based on that illusion that they present. We're beyond that. All they're doing is pacing. And they're pacing in an environment that I have already established. We already know the fake sun is here from morning until evening. And I'm documenting while they're engaging what is nothing other than pacing, the fake sun's not even over here yet. It's over here as I walk to this particular venue. The two are not happening at the same time. And it's relevant regarding those that are in that environment. That's all relevant. Regarding what is malice, regarding what is an illusion, regarding what is the fake existence of fake people, the demon-possessed, the wicked, the children of the devil that target American citizens. And they hide behind the actual real pain of American citizens, people that have lost their lives, people whose lives have been taken, and they were black. We'll immediately jump into the narrative, it was because they were black, because that's exactly what the entity wanted to do. Defaming me, trying to falsely depict me as a drug addict, I'm a prostitute, I'm mentally ill, I'm going around and harassing everyone, while the entity, I want to be clear, everything that I just stated is applying to this entity, especially Jason Fields and Tracy Banks. The demon-possessed that have been engaged in gang stalking me, they're engaged in heavy drug use and I'll just say distribution. They're engaged in what is sex trafficking, prostitution. They're engaged in what is, pedophilia. You're talking about the entity that is literally admitting while they're trying to defame me, they're telling you what they engage in. Those are these same demons engaged in this reindeer 5K run, by the way. This is that same entity that's cheesing from ear to ear like nothing is going on. That's a psychopath. That's a psychopath. That's the entity that's engaging in the P.O.C. Okay? So all they're doing is pacing. All they are doing is pacing. And the entity is engaging in that while they are very much hostile, angry, hiding that anger behind what? Smiles. Hiding that anger behind what are the entity that is stalking with impossible light. Doing so while they are monitoring evidence. These psychos are sitting in the library with methods of light flashing while you're sitting down, keeping your back to me. Not only are you a stalker, you're mentally ill, and you're a coward. Okay? That's the entity that knows it is being documented, keeping their back to me while they have inexplicable light flashing from, and they do that while they sit in a perfect position. They want to be in my peripheral. They want to sit in front or beside me while they are over here flashing. Those are the psychopaths that are stalking, engaged in the 5K run. Going in the library to keep me entertained. They want to participate in, they want to experience stalking me. These are the demon-possessed, these are the dead. Okay? And the entirety of the Ontario Police Department make up this entity that is mentally ill, that is demon-possessed, that is obsessed with me, who are not magicians. They're mental health patients, and they will not be abusing a position in law enforcement anymore. This is exposing what are terrorists that fill the state of California. LIZSTV. License plate, that's a third party. The city of Ontario has already exposed gang stalking using the resources of the municipality. Paul Leon is being removed from office for conspiring my murder and providing resources to enable that. 8 Thomas, Indiana, Apple 305. And the entity that is monitoring evidence is not coincidentally gang stalking with the San Bernardino County Probation Department, which is under the fake sun at the Ontario Town Square. I published the evidence of the entity gang stalking at Fontana Lewis Library yesterday, and that was occurring on March 24, 2022, under the fake sun, where the Fontana PD are engaging in that pattern of conduct with the probation department that committed kidnapping. That is engage in what is kidnapping and then try to get me to agree to be on probation while you're committing a kidnapping. And I know the law through and through. These delusional psychopaths that engage in that, they use the probation department to pace like psychopaths in the Fontana Lewis Library. Those are demons, in other words, that are wearing a particular uniform that is analyzing the stalker. That's a communication of a threat. We kidnapped you before, and we're in here stalking you in the library, and we're stalking you in a manner that nobody has recognized before, and we're threatening to kidnap you again, and we're gloating because we kidnapped you before, and we're doing so in that specific environment because because you're here documenting Fontana Lewis Library, and we don't like that. That's what the demons are doing when they're gang stalking where the San Bernardino County Probation Department. It's not a coincidence what you see on my YouTube channel. I published that on YouTube yesterday, which was December 12, 2025. The San Bernardino County Probation Department is gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department, who share in kidnapping and criminal defamation together. That's not a coincidence. These are the demons that are engaged in a 5K run. They are stalking. This is mental illness. This is Paul Leon's removal from office for maintaining an ongoing corrupt entity. That is paying for ways to conspire my murder to gang stalk me in creative ways and utilizing it with regard to the criminal activity that the entirety of the city of Ontario is engaging in. This is P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 10:43 a.m. and the fake sun is still not over the roof. The entry of the OVITT Family Community Library where these demons are pacing, and they will be keeping my vagina under surveillance every move that I make. They're obsessively stalking, and this is how pathetic Satan is. FRIJXL1 is a demon. And so are the entity that everyone employed by the city of Ontario, every level of employment of that city, and everyone in the city, the people of the state are demons. 9GLY715, 8YPD592, 75264, Uncle 3. Psychopathic pacing, vagina monitors, very violent sex offenders, engineer light moving across their vehicles. FRIJXL is a psychopath that's pacing, just like the Ontario police were in helicopter. P.O.C. Monitoring with minor children, doing so while the entity is pacing. 9EFY388, 9FCU932. And they're doing so under the fake sun. Remember the food festival? The fake sun is still out after 6 p.m. word that Ontario police is stalking by helicopter. They're all stalking under the guise of an event today in furtherance of murder. And this is an entity that is engaged in that pattern of conduct while they are exhibiting mental illness, which is not closeted, and it is open on the outside of all of their persons for it to be diagnosed, for it to be prosecuted with regard to the threat that they pose to children and to the public. This is P.O.C. And the fake sun is just now over me as I approach the entry of the OVITT Family Community Library. Remember, the entity already has the fake sun while I enter at 10:07 or 10 a.m. The entity has the fake sun over the back portion of the entry of the library when I remain in that library and show you how it moves over the entry to the back portion while they're tracking my steps, because this is what they're doing. They being demons that are not going to create any sort of flashing of light into the depths of the library, all these license plates who are stalking me and monitoring my vagina inside of the sex offending facilitating venue, OVITT Family Community Library at 215 East C Street. We're San Bernardino County Probation Department. Under Tracy Reese, I just want to be clear that still gang stalking, and her predecessor was also gang stalking, kidnapping. And since you want to come and participate, you are engaging in that pattern of conduct and admittedly engaging in what is more evidence conceding to the fact that I prosecuted you regarding what is kidnapping committed in January of 2020 by the Ontario Police, San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, and the people of the state who are gang stalking. Okay, that's the entity that's engaging in that. That's why San Bernardino County Probation Department is here, engaging in that under the fake sun amongst impossible light, while the entity that is mentally ill is wearing its mental illness on the outside. Because that's literally what they're doing. That's what the entity is engaging in. And this is, again, the maniacal psychopath that is demon possessed, that can't hide it anymore and is triggered because I have exposed all of not only their criminal conduct, but their condition demons. License 9LJJ516, impossible light, one demon after another. This is what they're doing last night as I documented. While they like to touch all over my breast, they like to touch on my body with impossible light. They're all doing that while the fake sun remains over me. They also have engineer light ricocheting while they're stalking in the path. 9HZR595, 7LTV107, 7AVF263, and everybody employed inside of the OVITT Family Community Library is being prosecuted simultaneously for vagina monitoring for a term of years and kidnapping, amongst criminal defamation. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:46 a.m. Let's see, 10:47 a.m. we have, hi Talia, good morning. Yeah, and stalking coming out of the restroom to cross path. Yeah, that's the entity doing so. That's surveillance inside of the library, very mentally ill behavior. P.O.C. Hey, how's it going? How's your mom, Starla?
Good. She's doing good.
Oh, okay. Have a good day.
You too.
Starla Villalba. This is the entity that is gang stalking, including by their family. that's the entity that is engaged in that very mentally ill and deranged conduct. As an entity, the entity is engaging in gang stalking inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, doing so pursuant to that fake son documentation which coexists. It's 10:48 a.m.
License plate, molesting with impossible light, sex offender. 8 Uncle Sam David 763. Monitoring with the 280 Northumberland Apartments. These are the elderly that are going to be losing their Social Security and their government assistance upon being prosecuted as gang stalkers. 22920 Edward 3. P.O.C. This is 6:28 p.m. at the Ontario Town Square.